You know, I know Lazy Peon made a video about Secrets of the Obscure very recently, and one of his gripes was the graphics to this game. I don't know, the game looks fine to me. That was a small aside. But main thing here's my video, that I completed Secrets of the Obscure, at the very least the story, and it's pretty good, it's fun. I guess the main thing that I wanted to talk about was how someone like me who is very relatively new to the game. This is like a 12-year-old game at this 12? 11-year-old game. It has 4 expansions. It has like little mini expansions in between them called Living World Seasons. It has a lot of content, and for me, starting back in May, and not really like churning through the game. Like I haven't been burning through this game that much, except for just to get like mounts and stuff. And I am at mastery level 88. I don't know how good this took me far. What the? Oh my god, it's still going. Oh my god, this ley line. Is this for real? I've done minimal story. I've done the core story. I've done the episode 1 of Living World Season 1. I've done a little bit of episode 2. And I have done the first couple missions of most expansions. Heart of Thorns and Secrets of... No, of course you... the other one, Path of Fire. I've done the first couple missions for both because I needed to do those in order to actually gain access into those maps and then be able to do what I wanted to do. Because I am just a guy who wanted the mounts and the gliding. And so, for someone who's kind of new, my experience with Secrets of the Obscure and just kind of jumping into this, this is a very good jumping on point for new players. I think that it is kind of phenomenal how they did that. This is a better attempt at bringing on new people into a franchise when something like a gigantic narrative has ended, better than Marvel trying to do that right now after Infinity War, even to this day, 3 years later. 4 years later. Wow, that movie actually is 4 years old now. That's weird. And so story-wise, it's fine. This game that does not, this expansion, Secrets of the Obscure, does not need for you to be able to know what happened in the past. Like, obviously, there's going to be, like, minor spoilers to some things, like, hey, a little bit of spoilers right now. Hey, the dragons are dead. In case you didn't quite get that from the name of the last expansion. But that whole central conflict that was the driving force of the last 10 years of this game. Well, no longer, right? Because I think that included Guild Wars 1. Shoot. So that would make it like 15 years plus. And so I'm excited to take part in that and actually go through, because I promise I am going to go through the story more. Yo, this gold path looks incredible. I'm sorry, just kind of like, I'm kind of geeking out over the textures here. So it's going to reference some things. It's going to reference characters that, I mean, for me, like that I hadn't met. At the very least, again, I did do the core story, so I know that the character that is the most relevant, Zoja, she is from Destiny's Edge. You meet her in the core story very briefly, and there's like dungeons where I haven't done it, but apparently there's like more things you can do with her that kind of flesh out her story. I haven't done that. The main thing about this character, Zoja, is that she is from like the first, I guess, couple expansions, because she references in the game, made kind of a big deal that she's returning, that she kind of just tapped out after Maguma, which is the name of the region where Heart of Thorns takes place. So I'm assuming, I guess, something happens to her there that just kind of knocks her out of the narrative, and she is brought back here, just kind of detailing, hey, this is where she's been all this time, while I guess the rest of the world was trying to deal with its version of Thanos. Well, multiple dragons, right? So Thanos's, Thanai. But because this is a new era, besides that one character too, I guess they did that to help bridge the gap and not make it feel completely alien, but for me it didn't make a difference because, again, I have very minimal interactions with this character beforehand. But I appreciate like what they did. Like, hey, this is a character that you know, and she's gonna help step you into this world that is brand new and doesn't really have a lot to do with what you've been doing the past 10 years. So besides that, and good for me and any person who's jumping into Guild Wars 2 for the first time, the cast of characters, brand new. Like, they're introduced for the first time here. And that's good. And it makes sense. This is a whole new conflict. This is a new organization you're dealing with. This is a whole new thing, so it makes sense that the characters that you're going to be dealing with are mostly new. All new, except Zoja. And the story that it tells is pretty nice, pretty compelling. There's a demon invasion happening from the multiverse, and there's an organization that is there to try and stop that at all times. So from a story standpoint, safe to jump on board. You will get spoiled on a couple of things, sorry about the ring, but it's not that big a deal, especially since the story takes place over, at least in Guild Wars 2, 10 years, and there's a lot of things that happen, so there's so much that I still don't know, and it's going to be a surprise when I do get to it. Naturally, I know that eventually the dragons were going to end. I mean, I guess they could have gone somewhere, but when you name an expansion End of Dragons, you're going somewhere with that. You kind of set up an expectation, so don't feel too bad. Area-wise, it introduces a whole new map. Well, 2, which this is a smaller expansion. They've announced that. We've known that for a long time. Even I've known that. They're going to do yearly smaller expansions with like some updates throughout the year. Not a bad model. I guess not a bad change of pace. Not that I was around for the prior pace, which was, the normal MMO thing of releasing an expansion every few years and it being a gigantic thing. But for this, I'm fine with that, And again, I haven't experienced I still have like the rest of the game's content to look forward to. So this is just like a nice little side piece. I have not unlocked this area with this character yet. I have with my Necromancer. Again, I completed the story with my other character, not this one. But very fun. I guess I should. But as you can see here, at least this first map is kind of a smorgasbord of all the regions, most of the regions that you encounter throughout Tyria. Pretty cool. Then there's the Wizard's Tower, which is, I guess this is a scaled up version of that floating castle thing that was above that village that it disappeared from. They definitely kind of fleshed the hell out of this thing, because I've seen pictures of what that tower was before, and it's just nowhere near this. As you can see, extremely necessary to, like, this, you cannot play this expansion without a skyscale, which brings me to my next point. They give you a skyscale just to fly around on this map. If you don't have the skyscale, the first mission, they hand you one, it's like, hey, you can't bring it outside of here, but you can, on these maps, it's like the only way you're going to be able to get around. I mean, that or the Griffin, but I have no experience with that. So for me, being the Mount Fiend that I am and just doing this game out of order to get the things that I want, I jumped into this mostly because I knew that they streamlined the process to get the skyscale. By definition, I guess, yes, it was streamlined, but the way that they made it sound was that it was going to be simple and straightforward than what it is. By comparison, from what I've seen on the wiki and everything, it's still a massive, like, a lot more simple than what the old way to get the skyscale was, and I probably won't do that until like way later, because that has to do with season 4, I think, of Living World. It's a while. So this was the good thing for me, and for people who are jumping into Guild Wars 2, I suggest it as well. Yeah, get in here just to get the skyscale. Again, the game kind of like, the message that it shows you, that's a bit in your face, that was like, it was like this kind of like highlighted message that shows up around here, is like, hey, when you get the skyscale, it's not going to do it for me now, because obviously I have it unlocked already, but like, if you want to get the skyscale, just complete the mastery track, which was, the flight training mastery track. And I was like, oh, bet, cool, I'll do that. That's great. And then I'm going to get it. And then eventually I learned that, no, it's not just this. This is one of the things that you need to do, which, is a bit grindy, but it's how this game is played. Did that, and then you have to actually complete the achievement. Not that. Where am I going? The Secrets of the Obscure, Horn of Maguma, and then, bam, a new friend. You have to complete this. This then splits into a few other ones. This one, and this one. You complete these 3 achievements to complete one, because like 3 of these steps are those achievements that I just pointed out, and then you get the skyscale. It is grindy. Some of the stuff is time gated unless you have a lot of gold. I happen to have like a little bit of gold, so I use some of that to mitigate the time. But there it is. I really wanted the skyscale. I really wanted to take this baby out of this area and just go straight to core Tyria and have fun with it. Unlocking the skyscale also just, I mean, I did my first hero point train in Maguma in Heart of Thorns the other day, and man, is that way easier to do with a skyscale. Being able to keep up with everybody, I don't know how you do it without it, really. Maybe I'd have to like watch a video on that to see if somebody achieved it. I'm sure it's possible, but just way easier with a skyscale. So, huge benefit to just having it, and the expansion allows you to unlock it in a lot more simple of a way than before. Again, easier than the old way, or at the very least, way less tedious. Still a little bit more tedious than I think it led on, and initially, especially for people who are newer to Guild Wars 2. But it's not too bad. You do get it eventually, and I think that it is a really additive experience to have the skyscale for the rest of Guild Wars 2. So yeah, to summarize, the story's not bad. You get a skyscale if you just kind of grind it out. You get to have like a couple of abilities for it as well if you unlock... Well, I mean, in order to get it, you need to unlock the entire mastery track. But still, super fun map. I'm sorry I keep repeating it, but it is kind of a big deal. You do not need to know what happens the past 10 years in the story in order to enjoy this. It is kind of phenomenal how they did that. And it's... it does end on... like, it's not a standalone story. It is setting up for events to come. So I didn't realize that they're actually going to keep going down this way, and that there's going to be an entire another long... Who knows if it's going to be as long as like the whole Dragon Cycle saga, but it seems that they're going to be telling the story involving the Wizard's Court, the Cryptus, and the conflict between the two for a while now. I imagine at some point they are going to bring back the characters from... well, yeah, from the game, from like the past 10 years, the characters that you guys have grown to know and love. And, you know, I haven't experienced them yet. I got like a tiny little sip of it at the beginning where the game forces you to call, like, essentially one of the characters invents a cell phone, and it forces you to give all... I mean, well, I don't know if you have to call all of them, but I did. You call all of those characters that were like friends to your character, and you get some fun little experiences that way. I was like, okay, a couple of them I know because they appear very early on in Guild Wars 2, but, you know, a lot of them I didn't. And so I'm looking forward to get to meet that cast of characters because it seems really fun. Just play it. It's fun. It's a good time. I'm glad that this is what they're doing with it. I really should get to doing more of the story, though, because this, wow, there's so much to enjoy about this game before you even really touch the story at all. But yes, I'm gonna go ahead and try and defeat this champion. You guys have a good one. Enjoy the game. It's great. Good time from somebody who's really new. Bye.